So I wrote a couple of books recently, and my super lame best friend straight up stole my idea. Except his concept is actually a lot better, and the art is really unique, and I think it has a lot of potential, and I'm not jealous at all. Today's sponsor is the Questonomicon, an admittedly genius ideas that contains a bunch of starter adventures for new players. It's the type of book you mention when your friends offhandedly say that they might want to play D&D, because XP to level 3 did all the work for you, and that's new for them. Just throw together some characters, read ahead a bit, and jump into one of their 5 unique themes and 30 adventures for one-shots or more. Follow the project with the link below and get ready for next month. This video is about the Banshee, a Type 26 ground support aircraft used when speedrunning or glitching the SPIRE chapter in Halo Reach, or having 6 seconds of fun in multiplayer before getting blasted. Nah, I do love that game though. In classic Irish story fashion, I started this video with a tangent, so technically we're right on track. So the Banshee is an insane combination of themes in Irish folklore and was mistakenly classified as a ghost in D&D and a lot of other media. Irish fairies are like the middle ground between demons and angels, who weren't quite evil enough to sink all the way down, but were definitely too mischievous to hang out with pure deities. A ghost is generally the spirit of a person who sucks so much at keeping track of time that they stick around after they die without realizing it. But to the best of my knowledge, and I did a pretty hefty chunk of research, a banshee is more equatable to a fairy that hangs out around places where people die, and then it'll take the form of a ghostly woman that looks half dead due to grief. They're associated with grave mounds, but most of their stories have them found outside houses or near bodies of water. But here's the cool thing. Sometimes they take the forms of people who actually died, and then they choose to watch over that person's family, which is neat. So in Dungeons & Dragons, they're undead elves, because elves are just fairies, but they're evil because they used to be pretty, even though all elves are twinks with shiny badinks, and they became Banshee because they failed to make people happy by being pretty, and used their looks to get what they want. You know what? I'm actually really enjoying this new era of my content where I find some really dumb shit in the book. No shade to the authors, we all run out of creativity now and again, and this book has over 300 entries done by like 5 people. There were some neat added hobbies, like being bound to a 5-mile radius, collecting shiny things like crows, and being generally rude about their predicament as a self-inflicted undead. This book does give them the ability to detect all life around the area that they're bound to, which I think is really cool. But personally, I'd rather change them back to Fae, and put them near places that death or funerals occur often, and then give them a supernatural awareness of the people who died here. Some of them might even know the causes of death for pretty much everyone there, but it's not like they're gonna offer a friendly chat. All Banshees in D&D gain 2 abilities derived from these old stories, the first being Horrifying Visage. It can look at anyone as an action, causing them intense fear upon seeing its face. I find this very funny because more than likely all retellings of Banshee sightings would have been piss-drunk dudes hearing crying women, checking on them, and then shitting their pants and running away when they find out that it's a 1-foot-tall pale grandma with bloodshot eyes. Second is the most insane change compared to the actual myth. The 5e Banshee can wail, causing almost everyone that can hear her to get clapped so hard that they die faster than bugs hitting windshields. But actual Banshees are just portents, or future tellers. I'd imagine the idea exists that their cries are self-fulfilling prophecies, implying that they would supernaturally cause the death of anyone who heard them crying. Like Death Note, but in the form of a musical number. It's cool that their wailing is either derived from or the cause of a practice called keening. Keening is like a dirge, where you pay a few young girls to look at a body and cry about it. I swear there was a Craigslist ad for a dude who you could pay varying amounts of money to either come to, cry at, or throw a fit at a funeral. It's kinda like that. So if I were to change it up, when you hear a Banshee wail, the Dungeon Master rolls a d4. For the next 2 days, they can give you disadvantage that number of times whenever they want. Ideally, at the very worst times. I honestly have no idea if they act as guardians, miscreants, monsters, or unfortunate things that just exist, but that's basically the Banshee. If I can complain a little bit, doing research for this was very hard because Irish stories are nothing but tangents on tangents on tangents. When talking about a powerful fairy that messed with their house, they'll tell you how the weather was, the fact that the roads hadn't been paved at the time, their cousin will come up a couple times. Literally any detail that doesn't matter is almost every other sentence. And I kind of love it, but it makes learning hard.